DJ Pro is filled with so many amazing features, and the way they were able to fit all of these amazing features and what separates it from pretty much every other DJ app is they have these different view modes which all do different things. They have their benefits and drawbacks, and in this video I'm going to go over all of them so you guys know which one to use to fit your DJing style. To access our view modes, we're going to press the middle button up here, and then you are going to see this list of view modes. You may be in settings, it may look like this, but down here to the left is modes. Now with the 5.0 update, this menu is different than the menu that we used to have. And also this menu, you could scroll down. So this is a hint that we may be getting new view modes in the future with future updates, which is really exciting. So the first view mode that we get, this one is new with the update. This is called starter mode. What this is for people that never DJed before, or if you're just starting out DJing, or you just want to play two songs together, but you really don't want to get involved with all the other stuff. So if you've never DJed before, looking at this would be it still looks like DJing, but it's not overwhelming with all the buttons and knobs and all the different things that you're not familiar with. And what you can control is the two jog wheels. You can control the two jog wheels. You can load up music from streaming service, any of your sources, and then you could just control the BPM, play and pause, and then you could use the new crossfader effects feature. You choose the transition, and then it does the mix for you just by simply sliding the crossfader, so you don't have to know how to DJ or mix, and you could start blending songs together and essentially start DJing right away, which I think is a great feature to get people started with DJing. And then also you can control effects. So you have this effects button here. You can control any one of the effects. There are so many different effects in the paid version of this app. In the middle here the middle is instant effects. And then to the right, we get access to our sampler. And you could change the effects, but in this mode, for some reason, you can't change the samples. It goes by what sample you selected in a different mode. And then you could DJ, you could play two songs at the same time. You could crossfade them together with the crossfader effects. You could control the BPM, and then you could also add some effects and add some samples. So it's a great way to get started. That is what starter mode is for. If you have been DJing for any amount of time, you're not going to want to use that mode. Next is auto mix, and now I made a lot of videos about each of these modes going into detail, but what auto mix does is it uses AI technology. You could set it to automatic or choose the transition, and it uses AI technology to decide where to do the transition, when to do the transition, and it will DJ for you. It's great if you have to take a break while you're doing a gig, or if you're just hanging out, or if it's a kind of gig where you don't need to really be mixing and on the decks the whole time. You could just put a playlist on auto mix, and it is one of the best auto mixes out there. Next is going to be classic mode. This is when we really get into DJing. Now, what this is supposed to be like, it's supposed to make it feel kind of like the old school two turntables and a mixer. These jog wheels are actually virtual record decks. The record arm works, and this is the biggest jog wheel that you'll get within the whole app. So this mode is the best for scratching. So if you plan on scratching or turntablism, hip-hop style DJ, then classic mode is the one you're going to want to use. The biggest benefit is the big jog wheels. The kind of drawback is that with the big jog wheels, we don't get the biggest view of our waveforms. We can still see them. We can get a mixer in the middle with our volumes and our levels and our filters and everything. So with this selected, it really feels like an old school turntable and a mixer. You have your mixer, volume control, and these two emulated record decks. And like I said, it's good for scratching turntablism. You do not get access to the most features as possible. That is in the next mode that I'm going to show you. In classic mode, you can't see the jog wheel and have the effects or NeuroMix or the other features. It's one or the other. The jog wheel disappears, then you have access to it. Now look what happens. Now look what happens to this part of the app when we go into Pro mode. So in Pro mode, we still have the same exact thing on the bottom. It is a little bit smaller, but we get these big view of our waveforms. You could even make the waveforms vertical if you like. You can make the whole thing the waveforms. You have access to these jog wheels, and yes, they are smaller than the jog wheels in classic mode, but they do have a lot of information. such as the time left in the song, the BPM. This is going to feel the most like if you're used to Serato, Tractor, Rekordbox, or pretty much any other DJ software. You're going to be used to this setup, so this is going to feel more comfortable. And if you plan on DJing with this app, then for the most of the time, you are going to be in pro mode, and you can even get a big view of the amazing looper and sampler feature. You pretty much get a whole view of the looper and sampler feature in pro mode and still get the waveforms and the jog wheels. Now, there is a separate mode for the looper itself. You lose all the other stuff, the jog wheels and the waveforms. I don't really know why anyone would use this looper mode. Look at what you get in the looper mode, and then if you go to pro mode, it's literally the same thing, but you get all this access up here. The only difference in looper mode is you get this volume slider down here. You could even turn it off, then it's literally exactly the same, looper and sampler. But with this, you have the volume control. But look at this. In pro mode, you could still control the volume by pressing this down here. So if you plan on using the looper and sampler, I would say stay in pro mode because you could add the decks. You could do a lot of stuff with it that you can't do in looper mode. So I'm not going to spend too much time in looper mode. One deck mode, this is for organizing your tracks. You plan on DJing, doing gigs and stuff. You want to organize every track that you put into your playlist. By organize, I mean set your cue points. So with this, I set the start cue point, the end cue point, a couple of other cue points. You could press this drop down menu and you could set auto loops. And then you could also set adjust the whole beat grid. With the new update, they made it very easy to upgrade the beat grid, and with this view, you get a bigger view. This is not going to be a mode that you're going to be DJing with. This is for preparing your tracks and getting ready, and it is really awesome. You get a beat skip, which makes it really easy to set your cue points and plan your mixes. And you could also set the start and stop with auto mix. So the benefit of one deck is you could really fine-tune and organize your tracks. The downside is you can't really DJ with it. Next is 4-deck mode. Obviously, the upside is you could DJ with up to 4 decks. And now, most people aren't going to be playing 4 songs at the same time or even 3 songs, but there are various different things you could do with the extra decks, such as use it for scratch samples, use it for regular samples, use it for maybe a backup track in case something goes wrong. The good thing is you can play 4 songs. The bad thing is everything is really tight, especially if you have this mixer open. Everything's so small and fitting together. The downside in general of DJing with the iPad is you have a smaller screen than the laptop, and that's why these view modes are here to make it possible to have so many features in one app. So 4-deck mode is there. It is really cool that it does have 4-deck mode in this app, and you could get controllers that have control for 4 decks, and you could also connect 2 controllers at the same time and use that for the extra decks, which is really cool. And then the last one is video mode. It really shouldn't be last because it is the coolest part. You could DJ with music videos. You could load up music videos right from Tidal. There are all these different visualizers, and there's so much stuff you could do with video mode and really let your creativity run wild. And I think it's one of the best features of the app. And if you guys want to learn more about video mode, check out this video over